Hi, I'm Haley, and I'm in the 8th grade.
I'm Tony. I'm a junior in high school.
I'm Amanda. I'm a junior in high school.
So I'm in 8th grade, and I'm going to be in high school next year. I want to know the major differences between middle school and high school.
Well, the major differences are, A, your classes are longer, and you get a lot more free will in high school compared to middle school because you get a lot more freedoms than you do here, especially like trust from the teachers, respect from everybody.
A lot more independence.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun than middle school.
But your expectations are extremely high, like they're like significantly higher. Your expectations of what your teachers are no longer going to be on you about zeros and on you about stuff you haven't turned in. If you are sick, you have to get your stuff turned in. You ask your teacher, you ask them what you need to get turned in, and you have deadlines that your deadlines are way more important than they are in middle school.
And it's all about responsibility in high school. If you're not responsible, you're not going to be able to get far. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly.
I heard the rules in high school are more relaxed. Is that true?
They're not like as strict as they are in middle school, but you have to abide by them more in high school. It's very much, you have to listen to what they're actually saying.
Yeah, your rules are actually more concentrated on per class more than, obviously you'll still have dress code and you'll still have disciplinary rules, but you're like chewing gum and stuff, that stuff really doesn't, most of the time your teachers don't care, and you're allowed to have, most of the time a lot of teachers don't care if you have food in class. Some of them, it just depends, it's going to be a lot different because a lot of your teachers will have very specific rules and you have to always go by what those teachers have.
So you may have one teacher that has a certain rule and another teacher with a completely different rule.
Yeah.
And you're expected to know
Yeah.
which teacher has which rule.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you can't say, but Mrs. Jones let me chew gum in class.
Yeah,
It's
you have
childish.
to know.
You don't want to do that. It's frowned
And
upon.
most of the time, I don't really have any teachers that care about chewing gum. As long as you're not sitting there like chewing like a cow, or you're sitting there blowing bubbles like in their face, they really honestly don't care. As long as you're paying attention, you're not being a distraction. There's a lot of stuff that you would get in trouble for middle school that you won't get in trouble for high school.
The other thing is, like, cell phones, it's more lenient in high school. Like, here, it's like, if your cell phone's out, teacher takes it or something like that, and high school, you get the one warning, and for the most part, they'll put it away, but
Yeah.
other times you get, like you have some teachers that are like, okay, right now, you can have your phones out because we're not going to do anything for the rest of the period, so I'm going to let you just kind of chill. We're going to let you relax for a little bit,
Yeah.
or catch up on work that you haven't done yet. They're a lot more just reliable in the sense of they want to make sure you do have time for yourself.
Yeah, and sometimes they'll, if you need to use your phone for something, like, if they know that, sometimes, like, your fourth period teachers, if they know that you can ask them if you can, like, text your mom or something, and most of the time they'll be pretty cool with it. Obviously, there'll be some teachers that'll be like, no, you can't use your phone, but they usually won't take your phone away. They'll just tell you to put it away, but you have to, you can't lose your teacher's trust. If you lose your teacher's trust, then they're going to take your phone away. But if you use it once and then they tell you to put it away and you just put it away, then you're not going to get in trouble.
You said something about not wanting to lose a teacher's trust. How does that happen?
Well, it's mostly if you disrespect the teacher's rules or boundaries, or his boundaries for that matter, or anything like if you're disrespectful to the teacher, you do something that they say is inappropriate for the class, or if you're a distraction and you willingly deny their actions, like they tell you to put something up and you don't, and you talk back, and then they try to send you to like a principal or something, and you're like, no, I'm gonna go do something else. Then it's just like, it's gone.
Yeah, and teachers, like, they're going to be a lot different in high school because they're expecting you to do more things, and sometimes even if you turn in you constantly do your homework, you constantly do everything, and you have one day where you just totally forgot your homework and you did it but you left it at your house or something, or you just didn't have time. If the teacher knows you as a trustworthy student, then they might give you a break, and or they'll be like, turn it in tomorrow. But if you constantly are not turning in things, you're constantly turning things in late, then your teacher is not going to be as liable to give you a break on it. And in middle school, I know a lot of teachers, you get lots of chances. You don't get very many chances in high school. If you screw up, then your teacher is not, they're not going to be as lenient as they are in middle school. You have to do the right thing.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
How important is attendance and being on time?
Well, I mean, it's actually a lot more important than in middle school. In middle school, you can miss like a week and make it up in like 10 days or something.
Yeah, if you missing one day in high school is like missing 3 days in middle school, because your classes, they're a semester long, and you have so much things that you're going to cover in just one day. And I've missed 3 days personally. I've missed 3 days of school from being sick, and I am up to my head in essays and timed writings and plenty of worksheets, and I missed like 3 tests, and it is so hard to make all of that up. I'm still making up, and that was 3 weeks ago. So you don't want to miss days if you can't avoid it.
Like, if you're sick, there's 2 definitions of sick. There's like hacking up a lung and you cannot go to school because you got a fever and you're puking. And then there's, oh, I don't want to go to school today. Let me make a cup.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in high school because A, it's childish, and B, dang it, you can't miss a day.
Yeah, if you're
Like,
honestly. if you're coughing, if you haven't thrown up, suck it up. Honestly, if you don't have it, as long as you're not contagious and you have a fever, suck it up and go, because it's not worth it. Trust me.
Yeah.
You may think it's worth it when you're getting that extra 2 hours of sleep, but it is not worth it when you are stuck doing. I was still sick on the 4th day I went back to school, and I still went for half the day just because I didn't want to miss any more of my AP class. And you just can't do it. Even being late is hard. I missed 5 minutes of my history class, and I got a lower grade on the test just because I missed part of his lecture.
I mean, honestly, if you know you're gonna miss a day, though, you gotta make sure you tell your teachers, because they can get you work. They can get you the work you need, and they can. If you say you're gonna miss a test day or something, they can set up another day for you.
Yeah, you never want
Like-
to tell them like the day before if you've known for like a week that you're gonna be gone.
I mean,
And you never want to tell them after. If it's something that you've known that you're leaving for in advance, tell your teacher. They'll understand, and they will get you the stuff you need to do, and hopefully you can turn it in. And even if it's like a project or something, then they're probably not going to say you have to turn it in a day early. They'll tell you that it's fine. You can turn it in like a day late.
I mean, teachers in high school, they're there for you, honestly.
Yeah.
They don't.
They're there for you, but they won't coddle you.
That's
pretty
true.
much what-
I mean, if you got to be responsible for the work.
Yeah.
I mean,
They'll understand if they know you're a committed student and they know that you're trying to.
All
You can say that.
right. We talked a little bit about attendance. What about homework and things like that?
Okay, so in high school, homework counts as a lot more than middle school. Middle school, you could not do any homework and get A's on all the tests and quizzes, and you still have an A in the class. But I mean, in high school, if you don't do the homework, you're gonna have some problems.
Yeah, and also the difference between homework and middle school is a lot of times the homework is just, you're just doing homework because the teachers want to give you homework or because they want you need more practice. But a lot of times in high school, the homework is actually helping you. If you don't do the homework, like especially in math class, if you don't do the homework, then you're probably gonna do horrible on your test because that is the practice that you need. Sometimes your teacher will teach you one thing, and then they'll be like, well, this is how you get to practice it, is on the homework. And if you never do the homework, then you're probably not gonna remember anything that she taught you. It's all about doing it, and even it also homework counts as a lot more of your grade than it does in middle school. What is it? It's about 20. Now sometimes it's 20% in some classes.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of classes will grade it differently, and I know one of my classes is 20%. I missed 2 homework grades, and it put me down about 6 points, and I almost had a B in the class, and I had an A the entire semester. So it can really hurt your grade if you miss even just a couple homework assignments.
It's the same with classwork too. If you
Yes.
don't do the work they're giving you in class, I mean, first of all, they give you time for it. And second of all, I mean, come on, do it. You're in class, what are you gonna do? I mean, It's the same concept though. It
use
takes
your
up your entire grade.
use your class time wisely, because a lot of times teachers will give you something to do and then just leave you for the rest of the class. If you finish your classwork early, you can get the homework done half the time. So a lot of, if you're really wise, if you budget your time wisely, you've got an hour and a half class period. Your teacher tells you to do one thing for the class period. That might take you 30 to 40 minutes, and then you've got another 40 minutes to do something. You could finish your English homework. You could finish what other class period you have, and then not have to worry about it if you have after-school activities.
What would be your best advice for rising ninth graders?
So the major advice for high school is, first of all, you have to balance what's going on in your life between school, work, after school stuff.
Friends.
Yeah, friends.
You're not, if you're a person who wants to continue like band or drama or sports or any of the stuff that you do here that may not take as much time, you're not going to have a life. You may say that you want to go hang out with your friends all the time. It's not going to happen. You either have to choose grades over friends, honestly. You can hang out with your friends on weekends, but you have to make a decision. You're going to have to make a decision between, do I want to look good for colleges and have all of this extra stuff on my thing? Because if you have awesome grades but you have no after school activities, colleges are going to say, oh, she can't multitask, he can't multitask. No, I'm not going to put you in this college. They want to see that you can multitask. And I mean, I know that you can still have time. If you pick something you really like, I mean, it'll be enough for you. You gotta pick an after school activity that's like an escape. And for us, I know it's drama and band, and it's really nice to be able, because you still are accomplishing something, but at the same time you're kind of relaxing at the same time.
Yeah, and honestly, if you do want to spend time with your friends over the weekend, you can, but you have to be able to plan for it. You can't just be sporadic and say, oh, hey, by the way, today we're just going to go out. Because you probably have homework that day. You probably have other stuff you need to be doing.
Do not wait until Sunday to do your homework, because then we have the Sunday rush day. That's always fun.
And then your homework looks awful and you don't remember anything.
Yeah, you probably won't remember half of the things that you did, and you'll be sitting there lost, and all of a sudden you've got all this stuff to do that you should have asked your teacher before about, but you couldn't because you couldn't email. It's too late to email them about it now. So my advice is do your homework. Like even if you have something to do on Friday, I know you want to go out on Friday, but seriously, get as much done of it on Friday as you can, because you will not remember half of it on Sunday.
And I mean, if they're your true friends, they'll understand if you say, I can't do this because I have school. I mean, you can find a ton of people you can call your friends, but
yeah, you will find your true friends in high school, because they're the ones that will stick up for you and the ones who won't try to pressure you into things you don't want to do. I mean, I lost my best friend freshman year, gone, just because we had totally different standards and totally different morals. So that was hard. I mean, it's cruel but you will replace them with friends that are 10 times worth that one friend you lost. And you will make some awesome friendships when you go to high school.
My freshman year, I had no friends. Honestly, I was desperate, and I clung to a group, and it was the worst decision I could have made, because I was in a group of people that were the exact opposite of who I was, and when I realized that, it was so hard to get out of that group. And then, I mean, my grades started dropping when I was in that group. My personality dropped. I was always this depressed kid, but the second I got out of there, I started being peppy. I was happy. I was just who I am now. I mean, I made a bad decision my freshman year, and it ruined my first semester.
Yeah, you really have to be careful about the people you're friends with, and if your parents don't want you hanging out with them, you probably shouldn't. I mean, I know how much you think your parents are always wrong and everything, but trust me, applying for colleges right now and looking at different stuff, I realize my parents were right in all of the things that I've done.
You said discipline can affect college now?
Yeah. If you we had a friend recently who got one detention, and she didn't get into NC State just because she had one detention. And
what were her grades like?
All A's.
A's. A's?
Always.
Oh my.
She had maybe like a couple B's, and she has a bajillion. She's in an honors society. She's got a ton of after school activities, and she didn't get into state.
So the competition's so big, so
Yeah.
much, that one or two little things like that,
It could totally affect you.
you just
getting
gave them a
into
reason
college.
not to,
They test everything.
you just
now.
gave them a
Yeah.
reason to pick someone else.
Yeah,
Mhm.
their disciplinary records are sometimes deal breakers in colleges. If you have two people that look exactly the same, have very similar grades, very similar GPAs, then one person has like an ISS or a detention, they're gonna go with the person who doesn't have disciplinary records because they don't want to deal with that. It looks really bad on your transcript to have stuff like that.
It's just, honestly, you have to stay out of trouble in high school.
Yeah.
Because in high school, the discipline is much harder. The rules are more lenient, but you break a rule, you're probably getting ISS right then and there. You break
Yeah.
an even bigger rule, you're probably getting out of school.
Yeah,
And the second you get out of school, that there goes your hopes and dreams. Because you just lost most colleges.
yeah. It's,
So you said that you have more independence,
but the consequences.
but the consequences if you foul up,
I remember when
Are a lot
I
steeper.
remember when I went here, they had chill out, and that would be where they'd send us if we were just a little bit bad. Chill out in high school is ISS.
Yeah.
And
There's no medium
the
anymore.
old fashioned ISS is now you're gone. You're out.
Yeah. If you get in like a fight or something during the school hours,
10 days.
you're gonna get a 10-day suspension. That's it. Now, I mean, I know here it's probably not nearly as bad as you might get in. I know.
I got beat up every year. And
Yeah.
they hardly got any
They
disciplinary
barely.
action.
If you get in a fight, you will get suspended. That is it. And there's no doubts about that. I mean, for now would have been chill out. They would have just kicked you out of your class. They would have kicked you out. They would have sent you to the office, and you would have gotten ISS. That's it. They would have said, bye, get out of my class. There's no more, calling disciplinary people to come get you. You just leave.
There's also no more
and then if you miss so many, then you fail.
Yeah,
then
if
right?
you
Isn't
miss,
that how?
10
No
days.
matter what grade you have in the class, if you miss more than 10 days if you have more than 10 days of unexcused absences, you automatically fail the class, even if you have an A.
Yeah.
Even if you made up all of your work. We had a friend who failed 2 classes. She had too many absences, but she had A's in both classes, and they failed her for 2 classes. And that will hurt your GPA extremely.
And
having
that-
a 0
once
in a
again,
class.
bye bye college.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or at least the ones that you're the top of your list. You're gonna have to settle
It
for.
is. It is extremely
you
hard.
never want to settle. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to have to settle. But
It is
yeah.
extremely hard to get your GPA up, even if I mean I'm struggling just to get it up right now.
And freshman year counts.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, I don't think people realize
I s-
that the freshman year counts just as much as junior year.
Yeah.
When they take your overall
Up
GPA.
until high school, nobody looks at your grades. Up until high school, your grades are just seeing how you're doing. The second you get to high school, that is the big part of your life where you need to be able to focus. You need to be able to
Yeah.
get the work done. You need to get, frankly, A's. A's are going to be what gets you into college right now.
If you don't develop those organizational skills and those studying skills by your 10th grade year, then you're going to be in trouble in high school. And it's something you have to learn. You just have to learn how to study. You have to learn how to organize, and you can't just walk in there with a piece of paper in your class. You got to have a binder. You need to have binders. You need to have everything for
Dividers for each binder.
Yeah, dividers. You need to
mean-
have it. It helps extremely when you have everything organized and not have to worry about finding some sheet at the bottom of your backpack. And
And lockers aren't always the best option in high school because you do have your backpack in high school. I know here they do, you can't really have it in the classroom, or if you have it in the classroom, you have to have it like somewhere else. In high school, you don't have a locker unless you request one.
yeah, most of the time, I know I was trying to get a locker this year, but the only locker they gave me was on the 4th floor. So I was like, well, there's no point in that. I only have 1 class period there. So there's barely any kids who have lockers. You carry all your stuff around with you, and honestly, I weighed my backpack. It weighs more than my dog. My dog's 30 pounds. So,
Well, Well, guys,
Yeah.
this has been really, really helpful. We appreciate you coming down to our middle school and let our middle school students know about what to expect. And
problem.
hopefully it'll be a good wake-up call for those,
Yeah.
for middle school kids that are slacking off or developing bad habits. You realize you don't have time.
Yeah.
Once once you get to high school, everything starts counting. So you want to have good habits when you get there.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
thank you for coming back to our school. It's good to see you guys again.
No
You
problem.
too.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you've learned a lot about high school.